watching Inside the Gilliverse, talking all things Breaking Bad, El Camino, and Better Call Saul. Brought to you by Stewart Travel Guitars. See the incredible stowaway travel guitar at stewartguitars.com. Also brought to you by Idea Bench, makers of hot rod-inspired pedal boards and pedalboard accessories at ideabench.com. Microphones for Inside the Gilliverse are brought to you by Rode Microphones. Now please welcome your hosts, Tom Schnauz and Eric Broadbent.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of the Gilliverse, and we just lost Tom Schnauz. Got to try to find where Tom went. I don't know how we lost Tom, but we'll get him. He's still on the call. Oh, you're still there. I'll find you, Tom.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you. Oh, there he is. He popped in fashionably late, as always, but it's not your fault. It's technology, like we just talked about. Anyways, we're going to be talking everything tonight from Breaking Bad, El Camino, and Better Call Saul, of course. My name is Eric Broadbent. It's with great pleasure once again to introduce my co-host, Tom Schnauz, writer, producer, director for Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, 2020 Emmy Award nominee. We want to bring that home for a lot of people as well, too. Tom, how are you?
I'm doing good. You know, I'm all right. I have mixed feelings about tonight's show, to be honest. Look, I have forgiveness in my heart for like a lot of different crimes. Like I could forgive murder, perhaps, and public defecation. I could forgive the producers who made that TV show Small Wonder. But look, bottom line is I'm a taxpayer, and don't steal my money. So you know, we don't know the whole story. You know, I'm prejudging these guys. So without further ado, we have the disgraced former treasurer of Bernalillo County, Craig Kettleman, and his wife, who there were a lot of rumors about she was the mastermind behind their corrupt activities. We have Betsy Kettleman as well. So Craig and Betsy Kettleman, welcome to the show.
You say welcome, but you said very harsh things about we didn't take anyone's money.
There's money, so that's.
I mean, honey, do you think we should stay?
Well, I think we want to give these people a chance. Also, I also don't mind public defecation, so you know that about me.
You don't mind it? No, I think you do mind it.
You're right.
Yeah. Your thoughts weren't coming out of your yeah. I think maybe you can take your mask off because we have the door closed.
Okay, I just wanted to model good behavior.
Yeah. If you
now I wanted to, I did shave and the Eric fellow told me to make a handlebar because that's what the fans like. So that's what I did. I hope you don't mind, honey.
They do like it a lot.
If, by the time we are able to kiss again, maybe we can just get rid of it.
Yeah, that's 4 more days in my quarantine.
Yes. Yes.
Can we go back? I'm sorry. You said no, there was no money, but you guys, in fact, returned money to the county, to the people.
That was those
part of your
lawyers made this terrible deal, and I don't know where they got that giant amount of money, but they just made this terrible deal, and Craigie went to jail.
Yeah, but that was okay. You know, lawyers sometimes know what's best.
This nefarious deal. That's just, we were really the victims of like a law firm conspiracy.
She's right.
Okay. I'm not believing it for a second. You see what I'm wearing at my chest? You know what this is? Flag of New Mexico, guys.
Yeah,
and a lot of angry people in New Mexico feel like you ripped that flag down and wiped your butts with it.
Well, we're tax.
Kettleman skid marks on the flag. Guys.
They stole our money too. We're taxpayers as well, and just because the money went somewhere. You don't know where.
I served my time, and
you know what you did. You did. I apologize if a little bit of Phil Donahue coming out of me today. I'm amped up. I'm a little excited. I'll try to tone it down.
Nice.
I apologize if I'm too aggressive. You did serve your time, Craig.
What, honey? What are skid marks? What are skid marks?
I think he means, honey. I think he means Look, he's really into the public defecation. He's talking about skid marks.
Is that for tires?
Oh, I thought you meant on the underpants.
Underpants? Like the poo-poo?
Honey.
That is inappropriate. Sir, that is inappropriate.
Okay. All right, we're live on the air, guys. So let's try to focus.
That's inappropriate.
And I apologize if you guys notice I've disappeared. I've unplugged my webcam from you guys just because we had some video issues, but continue on.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay.
What's going on, Eric? Get it together, guy, man. What's going on?
I blame it all. I blame it all.
So
on
you
Craig.
mentioned serving your time.
I did. I served my time, and even though I did nothing wrong, and I just thought it was a good thing to do for my image, and so I did serve my time, and
so you felt trapped into the deal you made.
Certainly, it wasn't fair.
Yes.
I mean, I think we all agree.
Okay.
Having done nothing wrong, I shouldn't really have served time, but I was happy to, and I made some friends, and I'm glad that I did it.
Well, what was it like on the inside? Where did you serve?
I served at the county, but I made some friends, and it was obviously a huge adjustment when I first got there. My roommate's name was Ox Shit.
You should say Ox SH.
Ox SH.
Yeah,
and
I don't want to say the SH word.
I'm sorry, but that's the way he introduced himself.
Right.
But I ended up getting to know him, and I helped him with some financial difficulties that he was in with his lady. And
You're such a good Samaritan. See.
Well, I tried to help.
Well, yeah. You were kettle helpful.
I was, and I taught the guys some songs, and we had a lot of fun in the can, and obviously I was happy to be out, but certainly made some friends, helped some people. Oh,
good. Well,
yeah.
That's nice to hear. I'm glad your time went well. Betsy, what did you tell the children? You have 2 kids, I understand?
Yes, Warren and JoJo.
Warren and JoJo. And what did you tell them when Daddy went to prison?
I mean, we believe in kettle truth. Kettlemans don't lie.
Yeah.
So we told them about the terrible lawyers, about that awful Kim Wexler, and that awful Hamlin McGill, and how they set us up, and there was no choice but for Daddy to just have to go to jail for a while, or it was just never going to end. So they understood what was happening. I mean, sometimes their friends razzed them a little, or I took them out of school for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
But and we went to see Daddy at the jail. We didn't get to visit as much as we thought we should. So we scheduled some extracurricular visits sometimes when he was out of the community doing community things. He did a lot of community work while he was in
Mm-hmm.
You called it the can.
That's what my friends called it.
Just like, that Tim Robbins in that Shawshank movie or something. You're the can.
Like Oscar the Grouch.
But yeah, we were honest with the kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when they came to you in visiting, Craig, what did you say? How did you handle that?
Well, I just explained similar to what Betsy told them, and I told them that Daddy was going to be okay, and JoJo cried. Warren's never quite forgiven us.
Well, I mean,
I would say.
he's still going through a phase over it. He's still being Warren.
Yeah, he hasn't been in touch for a while.
He's just finding himself when he finds a nice girl to really tell him what path he should be on, then he'll find his way back.
Yeah, he's like his dad.
Yeah.
Eric, do we have anybody writing in with questions?
Yeah,
right
there was a really good one right off the get-go. This was from Elizabeth Coleman on Twitter. She's asking, how did the two of you meet, and what was your first date like?
Elizabeth.
Did you notice my hair? Did anyone notice my hair? So when Craigie was in the slammer, hey, see, look, I can do it too.
Yeah.
Slammer. He couldn't shave very much, so I let my hair. I decided I wouldn't get my hair cut as a show of kettle solidarity, and then he said it looked like when I was in college, and so I just left it. So we can pretend I'm in college sometimes, you know.
We met in college.
Yes, we did. Campus Crusaders.
Well, I wasn't a campus crusader until I met Betsy, but she converted me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just showed you the path.
Yeah, I was a bad boy. I'll say I was a naughty college prankster, I would say, and you showed me the way, didn't you, honey?
What kind of pranks did you play before you met me?
Well, sometimes if a feller was wearing sweatpants, I would depants him or something like that in front of others.
So naughty, Craig. That's very naughty.
I feel terrible about it. You know that.
Our first date was we met on the campus, and I was giving out pamphlets for Campus Crusade, and he waited around on a bench until I had given out every last one, and then we went and had milkshakes.
Yeah.
And he got the swirly one, the swirly milkshake, and I was like, oh.
It wasn't swirly till I swirled it.
Right.
You guys have been together a long time.
Yes.
So when Craig was in prison, Betsy, it must have been hard. I mean, spent a lot of time together. Must have been very lonely.
Well, I mean, I hate that we keep talking about the P word so much, but I mean, it was the first time we had been apart in a very long time. Yes. I mean, I had the kids, which was also kind of hard, and I had to sell the boat because we didn't have any money coming in. So I sold the boat, and then, we were losing the house. So, people don't realize when you're wrongly convicted of things, there are real life consequences. And I mean, I picked up a job. I'm very industrious. I was running the cashier at a store that I'm not supposed to talk about. And when things were a little tight, I would, I did a lot of overtime work there, and I did a lot of extra work, like, suggesting to people what they could be doing instead of standing around when they thought they didn't have other things to do. And
what happened? She got promoted. And she became manager.
I did become manager. That's true. I did.
And
I did.
When I got out, she gave me a job.
Well, Kettlemans stick together, right?
And then she fired me, but that...
Well, I mean, everyone has to meet the mark, right?
No, I understood. I deserved it.
I shift there, and...
It's admirable to hire former prisoners.
Exactly. It wasn't easy to get a job.
Gave him a chance. Didn't work out.
Honey, he's a very negative Nancy.
Yeah, he likes talking about...
The Tom Schnauz is just such a negative Nancy.
I'm really trying to be positive, guys. Let's hear another question from the fans.
Okay.
Okay, well, that's actually good because you guys alluded to that. I was talking about the income. This was from the Saul Goodman Twitter account, a great account on Twitter. And we're going to talk about that Saul fellow in a little bit as well, too. It says, my question is,
I remember him.
Yeah, right. Since the money was returned and Craig, I'm sure, is no longer treasurer for the county, what have you been doing for money? So there you answered that. And this Kevin fellow, I think he's a stalker in the chat. He says, the Kettleman photo behind Betsy, a nice old family photo. We'll see if we can go full screen and have a look at that for a second. There we go.
Oh,
yeah,
that's from what? That's from
Better Days. Better Days.
Yes.
Wonderful days.
Such a negative Nancy. But Craig has his own business now. Like, we're doing very, very well. He's running his own business, and we're right back on Team Kettleman's right back on top.
Oh yeah, we're back on track. We've had a couple of different businesses that have gone different ways, but now we're on track. We're on track.
That's good to hear. Good to hear. Eric mentioned Saul Goodman, who has disappeared. He was involved with a very notorious fellow in Albuquerque, New Mexico, Walter White. I guess you've followed up on that case. That's sort of your connection to the famous Walter White case, is that you...
Now, we had a connection to Jimmy McGill. I mean, that Saul Goodman thing, I don't know what he was planning to do at that point. I mean, I was walking on the street one day and saw a bench, and it had his face on it, and I was like, that's not Saul Goodman, that's that Jimmy McGill. Yeah,
so, and you sniffed a rat when you saw one.
Yes, so I think that's, when we were meeting with him, he was not, he wasn't a lawyer for the criminals and stuff yet. He was, I think.
Did you get any sense of, because what he's now accused of, he's again has gone missing, accused of accessory after the fact murder, money laundering, a lot of terrible things.
I told him that he was, a lawyer for guilty people.
Oh.
For that kind of people. Maybe he took my suggestion. I mean, I didn't even mean to do that. Maybe he just thought about that night and took my suggestion.
I will say, as someone who spent time with people who were accused of wrongdoing, we can't really know until he faces a judgment in front of a judge.
I mean, but he was pretty nefarious when we knew him. He's very fast and loose.
That's right. I should add the alleged crimes. He's not convicted of anything. Allegedly, but
he
was
murder, et cetera.
But
money laundering.
He was connected to some awful things, if I recall correctly.
Kenny, that's the Mr. White that Warren had for chemistry.
I remember the chemistry teacher that Warren had. That is correct.
Is that right?
When Warren was in his class?
He seemed like such a nice gentleman, if I recall. He liked Warren quite a bit.
I mean, he's just.
Yeah, he went off the deep end.
With all like terrible supremacist people.
Yeah, I'm just glad Warren wasn't involved, as far as we know.
Do you know that?
Well, I mean, Warren's had his
touch.
Yeah, but that I wouldn't be surprised at all if that Saul Goodman was just even there that night when Walter White was just. I mean, they had those awful pictures in the paper. You could see blood and stuff. I mean, it was just terrible.
It was horrible.
It was bad.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
And all those drugs. I mean,
a lot of drugs.
Yes.
A lot of money.
I can't even imagine. Like
where the office was, where he had the Statue of Liberty, and that was not a great part of town. I would not find a lawyer there. As you pointed out many times, Betsy, that was not the place to get a lawyer.
Well, appearances matter. I mean, if you have to have, a guy outside in your office to, guard things and plexiglass up, then you just got to know that you're on the wrong track already.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
Here's a follow-up to that.
Got attention, like we have. Like I put those blinds in your office so people couldn't see where you were. But that's because the internets are just very rabid.
I'm sorry. Are you still in Albuquerque?
Yes. Why would we leave? We didn't do anything wrong.
Why would we leave?
I don't know. I mean, even if you're not guilty, people still look at you the way that I look at you, where you're looking like, oh, there's those people who stole my money.
They haven't really talked with me and looked me in the eye, because I've spoken to many people who screamed at me, or that woman spit on me, and I have spoken to many people.
Understandable.
I feel that as long as people know that I served my time, even though I didn't do anything wrong, I have nothing to apologize for. And I think both Betsy and I felt if we would have left Albuquerque, it would have made us look fairly guilty, and we didn't do anything wrong. So why would we leave?
And the internet, it can find you anywhere. It doesn't even matter anymore. They just find these crazy conspiracy things on the internet, and that can find you just wherever.
Because it was rumored that you had tried to get away. I'm trying to remember this correctly. That you disappeared. There was an alleged kidnapping, supposedly, but you were just hiking in the woods or something. And a lot of people thought.
No, we were camping.
Just camping.
Yeah, we go camping all the time. We have little kids. We're big kettle campers.
That's our thing. We make s'mores and sing, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And if that's kidnapping, then lock me up and throw away the key like I did.
At my car, like I have a sticker of us of a tent and everything. We're big outdoorsy folks.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And when you talked about teaching your buddies in prison songs, did you do your camping songs?
Sure, yeah. Well, that's sort of my repertoire, and we sang, and one of the fellas had a guitar, and he knew a couple of chords, and we sang some great songs. And I wish Betsy could have heard it, but I tell her about it.
I wish I could have heard it too. I stood outside sometimes to try and see if I could hear it, but I couldn't hear it.
Well, when your prison buddies get out, they can come. You invite them to the house, possibly.
Well, I've remained friends with many of them.
But they can come to the office. Okay?
Yeah, they come to the office, or we meet down at the pool hall and play some pool. Or I've kept in touch with some of them. I did, like I said, help them with some of their finances when I was inside, and I've remained helping them. A lot of them don't know many of the rules and loopholes. I wouldn't call them loopholes, but tricks of the trade, and a couple of them got some nice refunds. So in a way,
that's interesting for the crime you're accused of, that they would let you near their finances.
Well, I think they admired my ability with numbers.
You're just a harper, Mr. Schnauz. You just harp and harp and harp. He's a harpster.
Well, we're
all right. Well, let's go back to the fan questions then, because I can't seem to stop being negative.
I don't like you going to that pool. I think it's not. There's so many people there with tattoos. I don't think it's a good idea.
Well, here's another good fan question. This is a super chat from Shashank. Says, to all of you, do you think Saul, we were talking about that fellow a moment ago, makes bad choices just because he enjoys scams, or does he not find any other way out?
Well, I mean, once you start on that first bad choice, it's very difficult to get off of it. And he was making bad choices even when we knew him back in his Jimmy days. So you get on that bad choice train, and you just, I tried to tell Warren that, but he wouldn't listen. You just get on that bad choice train, and it just keeps going. And
the VCT just rolls along, and there's no chance when you're on the bad choice train.
Yeah, and then it just goes faster and faster, and it's harder to jump off of it. I mean, it's very difficult once you're on that train. But he also was, he always seemed sketchy, right? He was always kind of sketchy.
Changing your name is never a good sign. Well, that's why we decided to keep our name, even though we did looked into changing our name, but we decided not to.
Yeah.
What kind of name would you have used? Oxshit or one of the other Norwegian names?
He's cursing, honey.
No, he was mentioning my roommate. My roommate's name was actually, I believe it was Leslie Dooley. And once I found out that his name was Leslie Dooley, from his tax records, I sort of teased him that I was going to tell everyone that his name wasn't Oxshit. And so he actually gave me $10 a week for telling everyone that his name was Leslie.
He went out after that, didn't he?
But we were thinking about changing our name just to something simple.
Yeah.
Or just something dropping the man, or something to sort of hide our identity.
The Kettles.
Just the Kettles.
Kettles, that's neat. What?
Yeah.
Here's a question from one of our regulars, Blazy Gardner. Since how you both still live in Albuquerque, obviously you wouldn't move because there was no need to move because you didn't do anything wrong. But
Thank you.
that chicken place, do you ever? She's asking if you ever eat at Los Pollos Hermanos.
Oh my gosh.
Jojo used to love that place. Do you remember? She
One
just
of our favorites.
But then I read, is there another location open? There was some kind of fire there a couple of years ago that seemed really terrible. But that chicken, my JoJo just loved that chicken. When she comes home at Thanksgiving with her special friend, I mean, she loves to go get that chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we used to sit in there and remember when Warren used to do his homework in there, and the gentleman who owned it was such a nice feller, and he helped him. We just loved going there. It was
when I had to move out of our house with the kids when Craig was still in the pokey. We would go there a lot after school, before we had a proper kitchen, so that I could make good nutritious meals. But you can eat nutritiously there, or you can eat very badly there. That's the thing about bad choices. You start eating bad food and it just leads you into more bad things. Like you just think, oh, I'll eat chicken all the time, and then suddenly you're robbing a bank. I mean, it's a very slippery slope.
That's true. The owner of Pollos Hermanos did get into some trouble as well, connected to the Walter White case.
I never really believed that. He was such a nice man.
Isn't he with those nice, crisp button-up shirts?
Mm-hmm.
Just so polite and quiet.
Or like had them pushed up. I always found that. I mean, maybe it was one of his managers or something, like somebody working under him, but he just seemed very upstanding.
It's possible. He died under horrible circumstances, and so we don't know the whole story.
Well, I just remember him winning a lot of awards for citizenship, and I remember him giving quite a bit of money to the Commonwealth, and we always appreciated his support. He was one of the great businessmen. So I, again, don't want to slander anyone or wrong.
And set up. I mean, look what happened to us.
A lot of people can get set up.
That's right.
That's all we'll say.
Those lawyers. I mean, you got to look out for those lawyers.
That's excellent advice. Look out for the lawyers, everyone. Eric, any more questions from our fans?
Yeah, there is one now. I'm getting these texted to me at the same time. I have our live chat open on these internets here, but I get my better half here as well texting me. So sometimes it doesn't translate well, but it looks like it says WP from the chat. WP, do the other parents at the kids' school treat the Kettlemans differently? Did they participate in the PTA?
Well, the kids are not in school now. I mean, they've both gotten out of school now. Even JoJo's out of college now. But back then, I mean, they got teased a little, but we just told them to stay kettle strong, and I took them out of school when they suggested that I not come to the PTA, which I thought was very unfair. So that we homeschooled them for a while and then sent them to school. That's when Warren got very angry. But it was I think we handled it in a very positive way. What we do is whenever the kids were very angry or feeling a lot of feelings, we would sing a round of John Jacob Jingle. And you can't help but be happy by the time you finish that.
Hard not to smile when you're singing that.
And you just can't help but be happy about that.
Yeah.
It's a classic for sure.
Yes.
Thank
you for saying something positive, Mr. Schnauz.
I'm trying. I'm really trying.
On my SH list,
Uh-oh.
You don't want to be there, Mr.
I don't want to be there.
No,
No.
I don't want my angry face to have to come out. So that's thank you for being nice. That was very nice.
Well, I thought we had a couple of technical issues there for a moment as well, too, and I was worried that I was going to get yelled at myself, and I really don't want to be on anybody's shit list either. I'm sorry I said a bad word there, but
You can just say SH. We all know what it is.
Okay.
Or poo-poo,
Yeah.
or, the
Okay.
bull duty. You can say duty list.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
For poops and giggles.
Number two.
Yeah.
I'm going to write these down.
Yep.
Yeah, sometimes we just have to think a little harder about other words we could use.
There you go. Well, that really interesting, sexy voice at the beginning of the show, that deep voice that you heard speaking, was Paul Sura introducing the show here. And he has a question. A call to Betsy and Craig. Do you think? Do you guys know the Pinkmans, or did your kids know the son in question, Jesse's younger brother, Jake? Did the family know the Pinkmans at all?
I mean,
I vaguely remember. I vaguely remember the young boy, the Pinkman boy.
they were he was ahead of our kids in school. He was. I mean, I don't think JoJo knew him. I hope not.
I am remembering some of the boys that JoJo dated, and I have to say I don't remember a lot of their last names.
Oh, honey, she wouldn't have dated someone like that. I told her to stay away from skateboarders because skateboarding is like a gateway to the drugs and stuff. It's just, the kids, they hang out. She would never have done that.
No.
And, there weren't that many boys around.
At a certain point, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think the Pinkmans were, we weren't,
We were friendly with them.
no, I mean, I think a lot of people kind of, pretend they don't know you when there's a misunderstanding about something. So they sort of fell into that casual category.
Well, here's another good question as well, too, from Ursula. I think we touched base slightly on this, either in some conversation previously or not, but what school did your kids go to, and who teaches chemistry there?
Oh, well, Walter White taught Warren the chemistry. I mean,
He was a terrific teacher, and I remember Warren loved the class. His lab book was impeccably
to make that meth?
Hmm?
Do you think he was teaching those kids to make that meth?
Warren.
Meth!
Yeah, I heard you. I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Craig. You're isolating because are you sick? Is that what I heard before?
There's a possibility that I'm sick. I had my mask below my nose, and Betsy did notice that, and she's right. I was foolish, and now I've been here for a week and 4 days.
So you didn't get tested. You just, because you had that slip up, Betsy banished you to another room.
Oh, no, we agreed.
I wouldn't say banished. That was something that we both agreed to, and
Again, I'm being negative. I apologize.
Yes,
That's
you
okay.
are. You're a very negative Nancy.
but we have seen each other through the window, and
I miss you at night, honey.
I miss you, honey.
It's just like you were back in prison, but you're going to be out in a shorter time.
Yeah,
Except
but a little
winter
more
months
lonely.
in there. Yeah. You don't have your, but I do stand on the other side. I do sit on the other side of the door and we sing at night.
Yeah, we sing and we have sing-alongs, and I smell a lot of good food cooking out there. But it's a little different than prison, just in terms of the camaraderie in prison was special.
Yeah.
Really, honey? I don't like for you to put, this is going to be on the public. This is be out in the public. I don't like to hear you talk like that.
I hated prison.
I think it's a slippery slope that you had the camaraderie with those types of folks.
I hated every minute of it and didn't talk to anyone while I was in.
Yeah, he was just confused.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hearing some conflicting stories here, but that's okay.
Yep.
The mind does things you forget.
I don't
Good
think
to have Betsy help you remember.
I don't.
Well,
honey,
she's just reminding me that I sometimes confuse my time there with my imaginings of what my time could have been there.
he makes it better in his head because it was really horrible. So in his mind, he made it happier and better than it was, and then that's what he remembers. Now.
Exactly. But now that I'm home, I mean, I've been home for quite a while, and
Any thoughts of going into politics?
Yeah, good
Well,
question.
You strike me as
I still think you could be mayor and then governor, honey. I still think it's an excellent path for you.
it's definitely up there. Of course, you want me to wear suits like in Hamlin.
If you're gonna campaign, we should dress you like that Howard Hamlin. I mean, he's not nice, but he's a very snappy dresser.
I know. We can't afford
long
those
sleeve
suits.
shirts. We should practice while you're in isolation there with you wearing the long sleeve shirts and a tie.
I don't like long sleeve shirts. They hem me in.
Well, or you could be like that. Who's that? There's that fella in Washington who doesn't wear a suit jacket or a tie to those hearings and stuff. He's always just got his sleeves rolled up, but I think that's disrespectful. So,
The wrestler, yeah.
Disrespectful, don't you think?
Jim Jordan.
Oh, I mean, he just never wears a tie. I mean, everybody's there, and he's in that beautiful building, and he just never wears a tie.
Disrespectful.
It's disrespectful, yes.
I'm thinking a nice kettle indigo blue would be nice. But it's actually, I'm glad that you talked about the politics, Tom, because I just want to give a proper credit to someone in the chat as well, too. Price of Reason asked if you're considering run for mayor. So you've kind of answered that. But is there any limitations on your record, Craig? You know, why are you allowed to do those kind of things? Can you run for mayor? Can you run for governor? Can you? Is there any limitations put upon you after your sentence?
Yeah, we've written a few letters to try to get that clarified, but there's certainly interest in me running. Certainly within the House, and
be there now if the lawyers hadn't just royally SKREWED us over. Like if we had gotten taken for a ride by those lawyers, he would be in the governor's mansion already.
I imagine so. It's not over yet, though. I probably will run for some office. I'm just not sure which.
I mean, we'd like to have his record expunged because it was obviously a miscarriage of justice. There was no judge even, and no jury happened. None of that stuff. I mean, so we would like to maybe get his record expunged and then make a run, perhaps.
All right. Well, I'm not being negative, but you would not have my vote.
That's very negative. I mean, that's just very negative, Mr.
You're right.
Giving me a chance.
Yeah. Do you live in Albuquerque?
I'm there a lot. I practically live
But
there.
is your
Second home.
place of residence? Do you vote in Albuquerque?
I can't discuss that. That's personal. This is about you guys.
You've been asking us personal questions for the better part of 45 minutes now.
Let's talk about something upbeat instead. There are rumors about a Kettleman biopic. I've read in the trades.
Honey, what is it?
This. Remember, honey, the movie that they were talking about?
Oh, right. Okay, right.
I've read in the trades. The trades are that's what important people read. Hollywood Reporter, Variety, Backstage. Not you guys probably don't read that. And there's a couple of actors they've been batting around. There's a Julianne Emery, very popular actress, but on AMC's Preacher and the Catch-22 remake, really popular actress.
Fargo too, right?
And then say it again.
Fargo too, right?
Oh, well, we liked the Fargo.
Yeah, Fargo.
That was excellent.
And then for you, Craig, there's a Jeremy Shamos, who's I'm not actually familiar with his credits, but anyway, they're talking about him to play you. If you had the choice to pick who was going to play you in a movie, big screen or television, who would you pick?
That's a fun question.
I know who should play you, honey.
Go ahead.
That George Clooney.
Handsome.
You look exactly like him.
I see it. I actually do see it.
I mean,
Very sweet.
Yes. Yeah. He should definitely play. Who do you think should play me?
Well, I would say either Cher or I'm trying to think if she's alive.
I mean, Cher? Oh, honey.
Remember from Moonstruck?
Well, yeah, but she's not Moonstruck anymore. She was in that Mamma Mia, that number 2. I didn't mean that like the poopy. I meant that like.
No, I understand. Oh, well, I'm just thinking about Cher just because I've always had a crush on her. You know that, honey.
I know. That's unusual. You usually like blondes when you have a crush.
That's true.
Yeah.
And the other person who I think could play you could be Julia Roberts.
Oh, I like her. She's quite good. She's very feisty. When she did that Aaron Brockovich, she's very feisty.
I'll say.
So George Clooney, and Julia Roberts. So this is like Ocean's 11.
I don't know, honey, if we should. I don't know if we should. I mean, that would be digging into a lot of our private life. I don't know if it's a good idea.
Yeah, we probably won't allow that to happen, but if it did, I think that's good casting. Cher and George Clooney.
No, Julia Roberts. Honey.
Julia Roberts and George Clooney.
Yeah. I like her better. I like that better.
That would work.
That's interesting. I don't think that will ever happen, but it's very interesting.
Why? Well, I mean, we don't really want
We probably wouldn't let it happen, but if we wanted it to, it probably would. I assume.
Okay.
Yeah.
Agree to disagree. Eric, any questions from the chat room?
Yep. And Craig, feel free to with two men here on the channel on the show right now. We're going to give you permission to say this. Don't be afraid to answer this. And there's a number for this in case you have any trouble with this. If you need to make a call, Saul Goodman Twitter is asking, and there's that Saul fellow again. Are you scared of your wife? And if you are, we can get you.
Scared of my wife?
Yes.
Oh boy. Do I seem scared of my wife?
No comment. No comment.
I would just like to say Craig should never be scared of me, but somebody who's trying to hurt Craig,
they should be scared.
They should be scared of me. I mean,
I do feel a lot of love. I feel the love between these two. I don't think Craig is.
I do love my wife. I don't think I'm afraid of her. I think I'm kept in line by her in a good way. I think I'm reminded about the best part of myself when I'm with her. I think sometimes I'm corrected, sometimes a little bit harshly, but sometimes I deserve that. No, but honey, I'm saying in a good way.
Sometimes
blame, Craig? I'm sorry. Any blame, Craig, for you going to prison? For Betsy's? Did Betsy have push you a little bit in that direction to down that bad choice train?
Absolutely not. I was on the bad choice train before I met Betsy, and Betsy and put me right on the good news Kettleman train. So
I did not want him to take that terrible deal. I did not. That was Craig's decision to take that deal. I thought that was a terrible idea.
I thought it was best for the family. I couldn't quite imagine us doing anything else. So I made that decision, and I mean,
Goodman.
Expression, who wears the pants. So
that's
an extended trial, a lot of publicity, probably the right.
Did the right thing. Should be afraid of Betsy. That's Saul Goodman.
Correct.
The things that he said to us and the things that he did, I would like to see him again someday. I talk about it a lot. We talk about it late at night when it's all dark outside and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're reminded of that night.
Yeah, I don't like to be a person who carries hate in my heart, but that's Saul Goodman.
He did really scare you in the tent, didn't he? And the kids.
He terrified us, and I still have that image in my head sometimes, and I haven't seen The Shining since.
He stalked us through the woods.
Yeah, and he went like 5. He tracked you for 5 miles. I mean, he was on a mission.
He stalked us.
Still not sure how he found us.
Arrested for that kind of thing. Yeah.
Found you and your money. Yeah, that was something.
I'm just wondering if maybe there was one of those GPS trackers like in the gas cap but inside the bag of money, possibly. Well, if there was a bag of money.
What are we talking about?
I cannot remember if there was money or not money.
Yeah, that's right.
No, you said no money. There's no money.
Yeah, there's no money. So, yeah.
I mean, those lawyers found that money and just gave it over to them and set us up. I mean, did you ever consider that maybe Hamlin McGill took all that money, or that Saul Goodman, before he was Saul Goodman, maybe Jimmy McGill changed his name because he's the one who stole all that money and he didn't want anybody to know.
Could be.
We didn't do that. We didn't have any money.
No.
Never thought of that scenario.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like we were driving Beamers or something.
No, we had a boat.
You had a very large boat.
Well, that was for Craig's mayor campaign. We thought we were on a track for him to run for mayor. And when you do that, you have to host those political parties and you have to rate fundraisers and stuff. And we thought that boat would be a good place to do that. So we thought that would save the campaign.
Back of our car.
Yeah, that would it would save so much money on venue spaces and things for us to just have that vote.
Nothing wrong with that. Well, there's a couple other questions as well too, and I'm going to refrain from saying that.
I see that.
Yeah, I'm going to refrain from saying prison anymore. I'm just going to call it the P word. Okay. So there's a couple questions that relate to that. Saul was asking about being scared of the wave. Henry Craig, did a couple of people asking if you had a roommate in prison? That's from Karina, and this will also relate to that. Henry Craig, did you also know anyone named Tuco in prison? I've heard that Tuco name quite a bit. And did you know that fellow in prison? And the P word. Sorry, P word.
Honey, that fella died from drugs.
Yes. I don't remember, but I knew a lot of people who knew that fellow.
You know the drug people in prison.
My roommate, as I said, and he's getting a lot of mentions, but Leslie Dooley was my roommate, and he was fairly well connected in the P word. And so he introduced me to a lot of his friends, and certainly there were connections to a lot of those sorts of fellas. And I think a good friend of his was the one who gave me my tattoo.
Oh, honey.
Which I
have a tattoo.
I got rid of.
Oh.
I can't believe you brought that up here.
Which I got rid of.
That was like
What was it?
private information. I can't believe you brought that up here.
I
Honey.
forget sometimes that we're not just talking.
I'm just, this is in public. I can't believe
Sorry.
I'm very upset.
I know. I got my tattoo removed, and you can't even see where it was.
What did it say? Was it an image or was it a word? Something tasteful, I imagine.
Honey,
It was an image.
I'm afraid.
shameful.
Okay.
I mean, I know you were trying to fit in the pokey,
You have to.
but
You have to fit in.
I mean, a tattoo is like the first road on that slippery slope. Like when I see someone with a tattoo, I know that they're a bad guy. A tattoo means you're a bad guy.
I know. It was a bet.
I mean, it was a bet?
I mean, it was a challenge. It was a dare.
You were betting?
It was a dare. I'm sorry, honey. This is embarrassing.
I think you're going to have to quarantine for another week.
No. Honey. No.
Very upsetting.
I can't quarantine for another week. I really will go crazy.
These are consequences. I'm not the one who got the tattoo and was betting on things.
Honey, I apologize for the tattoo.
I don't mean to sign with Craig here. I mean, but I'm sorry with Betsy, but the fact that I kind of agree with you, like, tattoos and the skateboarding and then drugs. It's one after the other, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Tattoos are a gateway, and I didn't mean to go through the gate.
Yes. We tried to tell Warren, but,
Warren had a number of tattoos, if I recall.
Oh, honey.
Yeah, true. You gotta be careful.
I don't know if I can talk about this anymore.
Let's try to end this on an upbeat note. Let's talk about the future. Where do you guys see yourselves in 5 years, 10 years?
I guess we imagine the family being back together, and maybe the kids will have children. There doesn't seem like that's going to happen right now, but you never know. And I think that we both feel that we'd be great grandparents. So we do talk about that a lot.
And
it's good. Pressure your kids. It'll happen. Just keep telling them.
Well, if we can get a hold of Warren, we will.
I'm all over it. I have it. I circle back to that daily, so it'll happen.
But I do think in 10 years, possibly I'd be holding an office, and we'd have a real first lady there in Betsy. And I just want to help people, and I just believe in the future and turning things around and being a positive force. So
no matter what happens, we are back on our feet financially, and things are looking good in the Kettleverse.
I'll say.
Fingers crossed, future Governor Kettleman.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just live it down.
George Clooney.
I'm a Canadian. I wish I could vote for you. I can't, but you certainly have my support from afar, from across the border.
Well, we can send you a mail-in ballot, and you could vote.
Okay.
Again, I would not vote for you, but I believe, based on what's happened in recent years, that anyone can hold office.
I mean, Craig could be in the White House. I mean, I don't see why that couldn't happen.
I don't see why not, actually.
Yeah.
This isn't an official announcement, but it's a possibility.
We're making news here. Are you officially throwing your?
No. But I am honored to. But thank you for suggesting it, and I'm considering all my options.
And you know what, Mr. Schnauz, I think it's very judgmental of you to not wait until you hear a platform and what Craig might do in office to just automatically make that decision.
Yeah, I don't need to hear any of that. I know. I would not vote for him.
Well, then you're just maybe not our target audience.
It's possible.
I use that lingo. Did you hear that, honey?
That's good.
That's what they call lingo.
That.
Yeah, that's my target.
Yeah.
You're studying to help him out on the campaign trail.
Well, I mean, obviously, I would be his campaign manager.
Yeah.
And chief of staff after that, obviously.
Yeah. Bodyguard.
Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. That's the good thing. When you hold office, they have those clear things that put all the words you're supposed to say right up there in front of you, so you don't ever make a misstep. You just read it right off the thing.
That's a teleprompter.
You could type.
This is more Hollywood lingo. I know you guys aren't familiar with that, but that's called a teleprompter.
Teleprompter.
Okay.
You could type into that, and I could read it. So.
Oh, I get it. It's like prompting, but it's not like a telephone because you read it. But it's like prompting what you're supposed to say.
Yes.
Yeah. We could get some of those men that guard the president, those Secret Service.
Yep.
We could get one of those things, and I could just tell you in your ear what to say.
Eric has right there.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah,
Betsy, you got to be careful though, because I don't want you to get confused. And if you're using your iPhone and you're sending off your notes off the teleprompter, don't send the grocery list. Because Craig might say 2 dozen eggs, some whole wheat bread. Make sure you're sending the right notes to the teleprompter.
Right. I would read everything you wrote for sure.
Yes.
Hey Eric, do you like my mustache?
I love it. I do, and I'd love it to death. It's fantastic.
I would very much appreciate it if you would stay out of that kind of personal business.
I'm sorry.
I don't think it's attractive, honey. You don't look like someone who would be holding office.
I'm gonna shave it right after.
Yeah, you look like the guitar player from the Doobie Brothers right now.
Oh, that's a compliment. I do love the Doobies.
Doobie.
We all do.
Doobie is a bad word.
That's skateboard tattoos, doobies.
Remember from college, the doobie?
I know. But that was before I met you.
I know, but you said it out loud on this, public platform.
I love the brothers.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, we have
The D brothers.
Yes.
Yeah.
The DBs.
We have one more question from our friend Landshark Mark in the chat. He's asking, and Tom alluded to it just a few minutes ago about a biopic, which would be fantastic. But there's all these really cool series on like the AMC networks and all these other cool networks out there. Wouldn't it be cool if you guys actually had your own series? You think maybe after the political run, or maybe it even could be a live TV series from Office? Who knows? Would you like to have your own series?
You mean like those Kardashians?
Like a Keeping Up with the Kettlemans kind of situation?
Yeah, that's a good one. Keeping Up with the
Those
Kettlemans.
Kardashians. Well, I mean,
They're in the money. I'll tell you that. They make a lot of money.
They do well, right?
clothes
They do.
they are just terrible. Well, we could be a good influence.
We could consider being a good influence. Yes. We would consider it, and we would think about it. But who would play us?
No, honey, on reality, those Kardashians play themselves, honey.
Really?
Kardashian, you with the big behind, they play themselves. They just walk around their kitchen and talk and argue about stuff.
They would put cameras in your home and they'd follow you around with cameras.
I don't like the home.
You would just be natural.
Well, maybe we could have a separate home where they would come, and then we could go to our undisclosed.
A fake home.
We have to be very careful with our address, and we got enough attention that we have to be very careful about telling people where we live.
We're private.
Yes.
That's why we don't have a social life, because it's our choice.
That's right. That's right.
Nothing wrong
That's
with that.
exactly right.
There's one last super
That
chat.
makes sense.
There's one last super chat here from the Saul Goodman Twitter account saying, "Tom is my favorite writer. That's a great show." Yeah, Tom does. He's going to be a good writer one of these days if he keeps,
That makes sense.
if he keeps it up. If he keeps it up, I
What
think
do you
he's going to be.
write, Tom? What do you write?
Are you
I
ready?
write for the TV shows,
Oh.
the fictional shows you see on your different devices. I write some of those.
You write for the Kardashian one, or
I do not. No, different shows.
And you got one of those award nominations, he said at the beginning.
congratulations?
Right.
Fancy. I bet that if you were a more positive person, you might even win it.
I'll say.
I'm working on that. I'm trying to be more positive.
Yeah.
And have good things come to me.
Well, because people would be gravitating toward you, and they would be like, "Oh, that guy, he makes me feel good," and then they would vote for you. I mean, that's how we would run a campaign for Craig.
Well, nothing a little bit of therapy can't fix. Positive outlook.
Maybe a lot of therapy.
Mhm.
He's very negative.
And what was the question?
That was just.
Was there a question?
No, it was more of a
You
point.
just want to
Just-
say I'm his favorite writer. I know. I'm a lot of people's favorite writer on the show. I know there's other writers on the show. I know I'm number one for most people, so that's okay.
See, now there's a positive outlook, or overly positive outlook.
Confident. I like your confidence, Tom.
Confidence,
Yeah.
sure.
Might be
Thank
in that Saul Goodman's pocket. Look at that pillow behind him. I think that he was sent here by that lawyer.
Oh.
Oh, he has one of the advertisements there behind him.
Yeah, I think he's out trying to get more business for that Saul Goodman. He says he's disappeared, but I think he's in
And no one knows where he
to
is.
set us up for something else. Like those awful murders at that drug place with that Walter White. I think this might have been nefarious. I don't know if this was a great idea. I think we should go.
I think we were trapped.
Yeah,
I didn't notice the pillow either.
we were trapped. Yeah. You can't trap people, They have a word for that.
This is entrapment.
Trapment. That's right. You can't just trap people into stuff. And this whole time he's been so negative in trying to make us say things. I think he was sent here by that Saul.
But I think I think
Again, you're judging me like I may have judged you. It's wrong. But we thank you for your time here. Thank you for being open with us and honest.
Thank you for
the
having us.
most part, I think.
I think maybe what you're seeing though too, and I'm not trying to defend Tom. I'm certainly not trying to deflect any blame here, but Tom is really into nautical things, and I'm pretty sure the pillow says "Better Go Sail."
Oh,
Yeah, you can't. You need a better definition.
I don't know. I don't
Monitor.
Isn't that what it is? Better Go Sail.
No. I don't know.
Possibly. I have not turned around from this screen in a very long time.
I would appreciate you not contacting us again, sir. I think you're in that Saul Goodman's pocket.
Well, look what you done, Tom.
I think so. I think that's nefarious.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we got our time with you, so you know what? I don't even care anymore.
wow.
that's
I
the
don't care
second
what
time.
you believe.
Doesn't surprise me because you're so negative.
That's the
Okay.
second time I've heard that nefarious word. First of all, you were offended by the Gilliverse because that was nefarious. So I think we've really worn out our welcome here.
Well,
I mean, it was nice to chat with you fellas, but if you're not allowed to take anything out of context that we said here. Don't make one of those crazy recordings, that people make.
Oh, that I'm
All
making
right.
right
Well,
now.
since I am here in Hollywood, if I see George Clooney and Julia Roberts, I rub shoulders with a lot of the bigwigs.
Oh,
I'll
thank
let them know. I'll let them know about you, and
that
and
George
see what
Clooney,
you say.
though.
we really appreciate that, because I do think that would be fun.
yeah, if I'll mention it to George.
He's so handsome.
If you want him to, tell him to call, or if he needs to call, you have our number.
Yes.
You gave him our number.
We will do that.
For sure.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
And just before we wrap up, we're going to talk about one other person here as well, too. I mean, perfect timing to say it. We're going to have another Betsy, not Betsy Kettleman, but we're going to have another Betsy on the show next week. Come and see us the same time, same channel, same place. Betsy Brandt will be here. She's joining us for 60 minutes next week. And, I mean, 2 Betsies in a row. How are we going to handle that?
She could play
She
you.
could play you.
She could play me, yes. She's just a terrific actress. She's always so funny. She's on so many funny
She
shows.
can play you.
Yeah. She's great.
I love
Okay, so George Clooney and Betsy Brandt in the Kettleman biopic,
There you
Keeping
go.
Up with the Kettlemans. Is that what we're calling it?
I like that.
fun.
I like it. Very good. Well, listen, Betsy, Craig, Tom, it's been a pleasure talking with you tonight. I know we had a little bit of arguments here and there, but I think together we've worked some things out. I know Tom's going to have to work on that negativity. I'm going to have to work on
It's a challenge.
Yep. I'm going to have to work on some of the other things here. Craig, I like the mustache. I really do. I like the mustache. Don't.
Thank you. I'm gonna shave it right now I'm gonna shave it right now.
Take a picture of yourself and say, yeah, I was the man. But, you get back to normal and make Betsy happy. But listen, both of you, I'm going to say goodbye to all of you off the air. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. We appreciate this greatly. We appreciate your support. Go watch that It's Saul Goodman Twitter account. They're running a cool contest right now. We can win an Inside the Gilliverse t-shirt. So you can, Gilliverse, as Craig would call it. And everyone have a safe weekend. Wear your masks if that's your thing. And be safe out there and respect everybody else. And we will see you soon. Goodbye, guys. Nice to have you here for the evening. Well, all right, there you go. We'll see you next time right here on Inside the Gilliverse. Cheers.
Thanks again for tuning into Inside the Gilliverse with Tom and Eric. Be sure to check back each week for more great discussions and interviews with cast and crew from Breaking Bad, El Camino, and Better Call Saul.